We're now joined by senior journalist and former Washington Post bureau chief, Mr. Richard Leiby. Thank you so much for being with us on Asia One. Now, Pakistan is calling for the BLA to be designated as a terrorist organization by the United Nations. How strong would the legal and diplomatic case need to be for such designation?
This is a very interesting topic because we know that worldwide so many countries oppose terrorism, including, of course, the United States, Great Britain, and France, and yet those members of the Security Council are blocking the designation of the BLA. That is something that seems confounding until you recognize the terrible complexity of the UN taking action on just about anything in a multilateral world. I frankly was surprised. However, we know for a fact that BLA is already strictly sanctioned under the US State Department rules. It has elevated the attacks on BLA in terms of its financing, travel, logistics support, and currency, money. This is another step that would further weaken the group, obviously.
Why do you think some members of the UN Security Council are blocking the designation of the BLA as a terrorist organization?
I wish I knew the total answer to that. It's very complex counterterrorism, multilateralism. These terms can make people's eyes freeze over. There are legalistic mechanisms that the US wants to follow. It has, of course, relations within the Security Council with Western nations as well as China. And when I started to read this, I thought, boy, this is why the lawyers work in day and night shifts at the UN, because it starts to become a tangle of motivations that are not immediately discernible. I do know that the United States State Department, the United States policy is against terrorism. We do know that the UN already provides capacity building and other measures to help states under attack from terrorism. These are, in some cases, semantic problems.
Mm-hmm. So if the UN Security Council designates the BLA as a terrorist organization, what practical impact could that have on its financing, recruitment, overseas networks, and also international movements?
It would be quite devastating, I think, bearing in mind that the mechanism to do these sanctions was set up in 1999, and it's called the Al-Qaeda and Daesh Committee. That's how far back the fight by the UN has gone. Once the groups are designated, and this puts them in the category of the TTP, the Boko Harams, of a large list of 88 groups that have been sanctioned. They cannot obtain support just about from any other nation in the world, or the nations will be sanctioned. That includes travel, funding, logistical support, things that make it much harder for transnational terrorist groups to operate. The goal, I think, of Pakistan and China in this case is very practical. Make sure the BLA can no longer attack, undermine, and create havoc with the economic cooperation pact between Pakistan and China for the Belt Road project.
So Pakistan has repeatedly alleged external support for the BLA and says it has shared evidence with international partners. How important is independently verifiable evidence for any future UN action?
I think it's quite important. I'm going to cite a long time cliche, I think you'd call it by now. one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. The BLA has been trying to get its political message across through violence, obviously. And I think there needs to be some diplomatic engagement between Islamabad and the province, Baluchistan. Insurrections don't happen out of the ether. They happen because there are senses of political grievance, social grievance that have lasted a long time. In this case, since 1948. And I've only met a few Baluch people, but what I know about them is they feel an incredible oppression in their own land. 47% are below the poverty line. They're poor. A lot of educational facilities are not elevated. A lot of people don't have clean drinking water. This means there's a simmering, if not outright rage toward Pakistan.
Attacks have increasingly targeted foreign nationals and major economic projects such as CPAC, something that we spoke about. Do these incidents elevate the issue from a domestic security challenge to maybe one of broader international concern?
Well, let's take the Belt and Road project overall, which the Pakistan-China alliance is very key. There are 150 nations across the world which would have some interaction with Belt and Road, and that alone makes it an international, destabilizing international issue. I think it's barely recognized in the United States how important this is, but there's an overarching importance as this project goes forward, and if it can go forward, and if it were publicized better, what's actually happening, I think it might make for a stronger sense among the global community that this has to be stopped.
Mr. Richard Leiby, thank you so much for your insights.